Do, 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 do. First Order TIE Fighter Pilot Elite, right? Yeah. But then First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. All right. Oh shit, I forgot how I normally start off. What I do with my hands? Welcome back, Dan's Dog Blog, to another video review. This time we have the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch, or in this case here, we have the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. That also includes the First Order TIE Pilot Elite. So you guys tell me which one is right. So you guys tell me right now. A lot of the information isn't well, it's canon, but we're not exactly quite sure, you know, which one is which. So let's go ahead and say we obviously know it's Special Forces, but Special Forces and Elite sounds like a double whammy there for me. But this box is massive. If I remember correctly, our buddy who was lucky enough to buy this from us from California, it was 20 inches by 26 inches by 12 inches. Yeah, he was off to the side. Thanks, Mike. Another blogger for Dang's Dog Blog, who picked this up and was cool enough to take this home along with all his awesome pop collection. And we'll be starting to unload a lot and do a lot of video reviews on, you know, the different exclusive pops that you can get about, because that's another thing that some of our bloggers are you know, passionate about, and you know, so many more of you guys are out there. So let's take a quick look at the box right here. In the window, you have the 6-inch figure, 1/12 scale. That's going to go along with the 12 scale TIE Fighter from Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And I got to tell you, right now, that's my favorite design of all the troopers. You know, I mean, not really the Imperial armor, but now with the First Order army. And I got to tell you, that's my favorite design so far. In the Hot Toys, I'm really looking forward to getting 2 of these bad boys. Pretty much a basic window. Got a quick shot of the product right here with the figure. The actual art backdrop right here, and then little cuts of what looks like the back, which this is unique. Some of the earlier drawings, the concept drawings of the actual movie, and seeing the product release of the toy, it's actually a dual seater, which is a different take from the original movie. So you have 2 pilots not sitting tandem front and back, but one actually faces sitting out the back, and one sits looking out the front of the cockpit like usual. Side of either the A or B pillar of the side box here is going to indicate 1 for obviously the vehicle series. Something that the Black Series has started a trend with is the box coloring and the numbering for them. So when they came out with the Force Awakens series of figures, obviously the series started backing down from 1 again. Black Series, from the original saga, from the original trilogy, and even the prequels, is still going to continue on. That number is going to be separate from the Force Awakens. So here we are looking at the back of the actual figure, and you know, obviously better shots of the actual product itself. Once again, a closer shot of the front of the canopy. This looks like the bottom of the hatch going down, looking in through the canopy. The back side showing the slit. Looks like I'm not sure. Once we get into the product, we'll be able to tell if that's like a gunner's view or not, because he's looking out back. You know, the only reason I could imagine, you know, a pilot or, you know, your Rio sitting out back is, you know, to shoot a gun if you're facing the back only. Red stripe indicated by the Special Forces, as we do know from that so far. And then more product shots, and once again another typical warnings. The Disney Hasbro logo, as we're used to seeing now that Disney owns the Star Wars products. A cool look of the First Order TIE Pilot as a digital art right here. I like that. That's a nice little piece. On the bottom, typical warnings. And up top, sure, get a good shot of that. Some more box art, a little bit of digit, and full frontal shot here. But I'll read the little tag right here. First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. The elite of the First Order Starfighter pilots have access to specialized craft, such as 2-seater TIE craft outfitted with enhanced weapons and sensor systems. All right, that's all we're gonna really read as far, and then it goes into the French portion of it. The skilled pilots of the First Order launch into combat aboard advanced TIE fighter craft, hunting down enemy vessels and protecting. That's funny, protecting space around the installation and warships. All right, so a lot of literature in the back, but there's not a lot of sustenance, if you ask me. But that's to be expected, you know, from from when we were at SDCC this year, and I saw this. I didn't think this would come out this quick. It's I mean, it's plastic and it's Hasbro at the same time. I'm not to knock Hasbro, but the product is what it is. What's funny? This is for all you bloggers out there. I don't know if you guys remember this. If any of you guys are G.I. Joe collectors in the past, I remember for the longest time wanting the aircraft carrier as a kid, which was a retail price of $99.99. Out of that, or $129 at the most. And by the time I was, I wanted it for my parents, and they told me you get a full year of straight A's, then we'll buy it for you. And then by the time the year had ended, they stopped making the aircraft carrier, and they started offering the shuttle launch vehicle, which included 2 shuttles and the actual launch base for it, which was phenomenal too. And I remember that at a $100 price point. This is $170, obviously with inflation, but it's crazy to think of where toys have gone now. Oh, it's obviously a toy that you guys remember, the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. It was as long as this table. It was $100. I mean, it can house an aircraft carrier inside at the bottom, like as an aircraft carrier should. So, quick little personal opinion about the TIE Fighter. When I first saw it, the scene that we first saw it on was not, we saw it on the Jakku, the desert scene following behind the Millennium Falcon, or, we technically saw it in the teaser when it was first shooting at the Millennium Falcon, but you really didn't get a close look at the TIE Fighter. The second trailer, when you saw the TIE Fighter going after the Millennium Falcon, that's, once again, you really didn't get a clear shot, but then it was the full release, not the technically full release, but the second long trailer that they released, where you see the inside of, looks like a space station, and all the explosions, and the First Order stormtroopers blowing about everywhere, and you finally get to see a close-up of the TIE Fighter kind of moving to the side. You saw the look of this grayish, almost white looking finish on these X-Wings or the TIE Fighters. And at first I was kind of like, man, I didn't really care for the contrast, and we're used to that muted gray from the original trilogies. And whenever you started realizing that they're on the Starkiller base, for the snow, now that we know that the base is called Starkiller as a nod for Luke's original family name that Lucas intended for in the original script, before it was changed to Skywalker. So the cool thing is it's camouflage. I didn't realize that. Whenever you see that the Hoth-like base or the Hoth-like planet, the white wings makes perfect sense, or the white finish here, or the grayish finish. It's ingenious thinking, and I mean I've grown to enjoy it. Just don't know what to say about this black finish. This red finish here for the Special Forces / Elite. So this is pretty much the whole. It comes in 3 big pieces and then 1 small piece. It's pretty straightforward. You get the gun, the hatch, the main body, and the 2 wings instruction manual, as well as the figure with his little blaster right here. Nice little get up. And of course, the all-important, female instruction guide. But since we do have a female present with Mike, let's see what kind of information. He's giving me the international sign salute here. So let's take a look here. It says attach the hatch to the body. That was uncalled for. But we'll go ahead. So if we didn't all know, as Star Wars fans who are going to spend $170, let's go ahead and take this back to kindergarten level medical school. The hatch is connected to the top of the hatch. The gun is connected to the only open port. And then the 2 wings obviously in the hole. If you don't know that's where it goes, you probably shouldn't be collecting Star Wars toys. Alright, so pretty straightforward. I don't want to break it. Yeah, that's my opinion. For the size, $170. It probably should have been like $120, maybe $140 price point. It still feels a little bit like cheap plastic product. The weight's there. But, some of these tabs, I'm not a fan of tabs like that. If you're going to make a $170 product, I'd expect a little bit more than these basic tabs right here, which can break over time, which doesn't really matter. But if anybody's crazy enough to actually play with their kids and invert it, the hatch falling off, that'd be a bummer. So let's go ahead and This is where it's always going to get tricky. All right, so it doesn't tell you which side goes on which. But let's do basic deduction here. Let's take a look here. No indicators. No left or right markings. It does not go widthwise, lengthwise, please. There's no left or right indicators on here, so these look to be the same on both sides. Doesn't fall off. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the individually sold TIE Fighter Pilot is coming out in the third wave. So, yeah, obviously it requires two TIE pilots to sit in there. You get one. So the third wave should be releasing in December for you to get his companion in here, or his goose, to accommodate Maverick. Or in this case, a Ruski in a MiG. But let's be honest now, we grew up all wanting to be Jedis, but we all know the Empire and the First Order, it's cool. It's just the accessories, man. I mean, these guys get bitch and shit, and the rebels, they get ponchos. Let's be honest. But I mean, saving grace, everybody wants the damn lightsaber, but baddies get the lightsabers too. So I'm gonna do this right underneath just to keep this really bitchin' piece in view, and take a look at the figure right here. Basic movement for the figure. You're gonna get at the ab, you're gonna get waist, you're gonna get the movement right there. At the waist there is no movement, so you get the ab crunch as well as left and right, so there is a ball joint connecting there. The arms at the shoulders 360, as well as at the elbows here are going to get 360 motion, as well as an up and down, about 45 degrees of movement right there. The hands are kind of it's not quite a ball joint, so this pivot right here, you can find the brake goes up and down, but the ball joint is, I mean, there's actual peg that goes inside to allow the wrist to rotate 360. Head, I'm pretty sure could move fully around, however, his breather system right here has one air hose, which differentiates from the old one a little bit more, that had two air hoses coming out. Looks like a visor piece up top right here, so we're not quite sure if that goes down or if that's just a indicator of how the helmet just generally looks. First order insignia on both the left and the right shoulder areas here. Looks like the funny thing is, in a real flight suit, these ribbons right here, correct me if I'm wrong, a little bit of a flight geek when I was younger, but these ribbons right here actually are a part of a G suit. I'm not sure how many G's you'll feel out in space, but obviously these fighters do fight in regular atmosphere as well too. So these are G straps that allow for the body to be restrained and held together whenever you're pulling different G's. The legs, I'm pretty sure, could go a lot further back. No, they really can't. They stop right about there, going backwards. Not a lot of motion right there, so maybe about 10 degrees. Going forward, they can get about a 90-degree lift right there. The knees bend in double joints, so that's nice right there of it. And then the ankles, typical of it, it's going to move left and right as well as up and down as the former Black Series 12 scale figures go. And that's basically it. Let's take a look at it real quick and try to see what we can get a closer look. Looks like he has a couple pouches, no provisions to actually mount his gun anywhere, so there's no holster for it. And then let's go ahead and throw his blaster into his hand and get him positioned up. I'll give you guys, for those that break out your figures and fully display them, more power to you. I'll give you links. I did a little research just because I needed stands for my figures, and I haven't actually bought them yet. I actually have the stands for the DC. What a jackass! The stands for the DC collectible figures will actually fit some of the figures. They're a little too long, but they fit the width. And I mean, they're a little too big, but if you have those at home, they'll actually fit for the figures to stand, so they're not falling over on your nightstand, or on your display shelves, or on your desk, as I have mine. That's right, Luke. So they won't fall over, but there are manufacturers that make aftermarket stands for Star Wars figures. There's one company that makes generic stands that are just black, that are marketed for the Black Series Star Wars, and then there's another company that actually markets and makes bases with actual insignias on them. So it has the old Jedi symbol, the Rebel symbol, the Imperial symbol, the First Order symbol even, and I believe they're like $3-4 a pop, which is not bad. It's a nice way to display your figures at home. So let's go ahead and finish up the install here of the guns on the TIE Fighter, the First Order TIE Fighter, and then we'll have a good once over on the actual TIE Fighter itself. All right, so the cool thing about the cockpit, and we'll get high of JHP Photography Online.com, that actually he's the brainchild of doing all the review videos for Dang's Dog Blog. He has a lot of videos for JHP. And he's a toy collector like we are, and he's like, we want to start doing reviews. It might not be the best, but at least we're going to try to give you a good image. We're going to come back in and show you the cockpit because it's cool. It's still a molded piece, ultimately. Once again, $170 price point, and I probably should be the last person to really complain because I spend a lot of money on Hot Toys. But still, when you figure at $170 price point, it's nice in here, but you figure, the ways they did little things, like in the back here, where the thrusters are for the back of the two engines. Maybe they could have put a little light effect in it, or I mean, even the old Millennium Falcon had a light effect, and even the sound for it. And this one has no sound, which I guess can take away. But the pilot actually sits with his legs bent, which is cool. In the past, all your figures would sit down. I'm like, who the hell sits like that? Even in a crappy jet fighter, you got a little bit of bend. But this one, your feet fully sits down. There are two control units to the left and right that looks like the pilot actually has to hang on with. Looks like little HUD displays on both the left and right side. There's a middle console section that comes up right between two, and then it looks like two portions onto the side that controls thrust, or whatever it may be. We'll find. I guess we'll find out more in the movie. And then the chair has a little clip section to clip the figure in, and I don't want to damage the figure, but a little tight to get him in. So clearly, it's going to have to clip above the belt line here to hold the pilot. So some of you guys are going to have the patience to actually put the hands in the two handles where the pilot should actually have his hands, but I'm just going to rest them because I got fat finger problems that I need to order a wand for that. Put the backing back on, it just slides right out, which makes the ease of putting them back in a little bit better. And that's it right there. The gun right here rotates 360. I was trying to mess with it earlier. It's designed to come down, but I don't want to force it. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to handle any of the smaller ones, which we're going to do some unboxing videos here in the near future. The guns, when I saw it, I was like, all right, so why is it pointing upwards for? So obviously they have to be able to turn down. But I don't want to force it and break it. This little gun right here looks like it moves 360 on the base. And then there's two guns up front, reminiscent of the old TIE Fighters. But that's it right there. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this is a bitchin' toy. I've used bitchin' now twice. So, I mean, maybe we should put like a PG-13 rating on this video. There's a little, I don't know why they made it white for the contrast. I don't know if that's a product serial code. I'm not a fan of that white. Another thing, the black, there's the gray screws that are right in here. Not a fan of that either. They could have easily gone with the gray screw. Seriously, gray screw versus a silver screw. They could have easily done that. Another touch, that's just small little quirks. $170. I'm going to tell you right now, it's a high price for a toy that most kids anywhere from 8 to mid to late 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s are all going to want. But I'm going to be honest with you, for value, they could have done a little bit more, maybe even 2 figures. I'm just throwing it out there. 172 figures, that's $40 off. 130 for the TIE Fighter. People go home happy, but it's still a phenomenal piece to take home. You know, this is, you know, I think the days of, you know, 3 3/4 figures are really gone. G.I. Joe kind of faded away with that. Even the Star Wars is fading away with it. There's a lot of talk that 3 3/4 inch figures from the Hasbro lines will be exclusive only to Toys R Us. Toys R Us or Walmart, I forget, one of the two. Walmart, as Mike was telling me out there. And it's just, you know, everybody grew up on 3 3/4 inch figures, but now everybody wants that 6-inch figure. Hot Toys, that the 6-inch, 1/6 scale figure is taking off for collectors that are into that. So bigger is always better in toys. That's right, ladies. So let's take a look at it. I mean, that's just, it's like I said. Oh, that's right, Luke. I mean, just, this is awesome. You know, if I had something like this when I was 14, I probably would never finish school at all. All I would figure out is how many lawns can I mow to get this cool figure. And an X-Wing fighter. So if you figure, this is a TIE Fighter, X-Wing fighter with the pilot seated in that same position. I mean, easily, just the main body, you know, top to bottom, which they've kind of already have out there. I believe Hasbro came out with that line with the full size, the one with where the wings don't actually open up. So I could see the X-Wing being about $170, $200, and people would still buy it. I'm gonna be honest with that. X-Wing, TIE Fighter, it goes hand in hand. And as you know, I can't do sales forecasting for Hasbro because honestly I don't know the number, but I see collectors and they're buying them and they're searching for them. And maybe it's too soon, you know, maybe the shelves aren't hitting up, but who knows? You know, the retailers, the TRUs, the Walmarts, the Targets, I don't know if they're going to take this on, but you know, obviously it's going to boil down to all your independent, you know, big bad toy stores, Alter Egos, Entertainment Earth, to ultimately really sell these to the guys that, you know, don't want to really hunt one down or can't find one and just have to say, I'm gonna get one online. So that concludes the video review for this video for the Star Wars Episode 7 TIE Fighter, in this case the Special Forces with the Elite TIE Fighter pilot. This is Pete with Dang's Dog Blog. May the Force be with you. See you at the next video.